I got a question for you. What's your favorite Marvel superhero team? The Avengers? X-Men? The Defenders? Fantastic Four? Guardians of the Galaxy? In this day and age, it's nearly impossible to not have a favorite superhero team. But did you know that Marvel has a team of heroes that's comprised entirely of Canadians? That's right. I'm talking about Canada's own Alpha Flight. Alpha Flight was originally developed by comic book legend John Byrne as a backstory for Wolverine. They were a Canadian superhero team, one which Wolverine left in order to join X-Men. However, the characters proved popular among fans and were developed into their own comic book series. As with any comic book series, there's a tangled web of ever-changing characters. But Alpha Flight was mainly comprised of the following heroes. Guardian from London, Ontario, also known as Vindicator or Weapon Alpha. He's the leader of Alpha Flight. He wears a suit bearing the maple leaf. His wife Heather, from Calgary, also wears the suit during the series. She uses her husband's previous name of Vindicator. Sasquatch, from Vancouver, British Columbia. Much like the Hulk, he has the power to transform into a super strong orange-haired beast. Aurora and North Star, twins from Montreal, Quebec. Separated at birth, they each discover their own identical powers. Puck from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, a skilled fighter who was shrunk from his original height, which increased his density.
I'm George McFly. I'm your density.
Shaman from Calgary, Alberta, a First Nations medicine man who is also a skilled sorcerer. His mystical medicine bag allows him to beseech spirits who provide him with nearly anything he may need. He is the father of another Alpha Flight hero, Talisman. She was also born in Calgary and shares many of the same powers as her dad. Snowbird, born in the Northwest Territories and raised by Shaman. She has the power to transform into animals native to Canada.
Alpha Flight. Forget it, Vindicator. You can send every mutant in Canada after me. I ain't coming back.
So, why am I telling you all this? Well, it's because I wanted you to have some background as we explored the Marvel Universe's visit to Edmonton and to West Edmonton Mall. In 1985, Marvel released Alpha Flight numbers 26, 27, and 28. It's these comics which tell the story of Alpha Flight's visit to West Edmonton Mall. The story begins with Alpha Flight doing battle with a series of large robots, who eventually converge into a single Power Ranger-style Megabot. It's not long before Alpha Flight defeats the robots, and it turns out it's all just a test for the Canadian military's newest battle bots, in Red Deer. However, this didn't stop Aurora from getting injured during the battle. Suddenly, Guardian receives a word from his wife Heather that trouble is brewing and Alpha Flight is needed. With Aurora injured, the team is split, so Guardian, Puck, and Talisman head out.
We're with you, leader. Where's this nastiness at?
Whatever this is, it's turned up in a place I've read about but never visited. It's supposed to be the largest shopping center in the world. The West Edmonton Mall.
Wow, that's a shopping center? I've seen smaller cities.
It turns out there's some bad guys in the mall. Alpha Flight rivals, in fact, known as Omega Flight. They've chased all the customers out and are planning to blow up the mall. Alpha Flight splits up and decides to enter West Edmonton Mall separately. Puck enters through Fantasyland, or Galaxyland as it's known today.
Quite the place, all right. It looks like someone dropped the lid over Disneyland. I guess I shouldn't be too surprised. With theme parks and shopping malls all the rage, it couldn't have been too long before some bright boy combined the two in a big way.
Puck is defeated by an off-screen nemesis. He's thrown down into what appears to be fantasy world. Nothing like taking out your enemies by throwing them into a ball pit.
Are we done?
I'm just surprisingly tired.
So tired, and so not hurt.
Meanwhile, Talisman is scouting the Deep Sea Adventure Lake, the world's largest indoor lake.
This really is amazing. I honestly don't know if I should be impressed or grossed out at all the money and effort used up on this place.
She too runs into an enemy, and before she can fight back, she's ambushed by the same off-screen yet familiar entity. North Star is also flying around the mall concourse, and before long, he too is defeated. by, you guessed it, the same bad guy as the others. Finally, Guardian finds Heather, who is hanging out at a comic book store. It turns out that the Guardian who appeared to be defeating his own team members the entire time is actually a robot in disguise as Guardian. So I guess the backstory is Guardian had been killed in a previous comic book. Standing in front of the now removed Phase 1 central fountains, with Puck, Talisman, and North Star, Omega Flight feels they are within reach of defeating Alpha Flight. But from far away, Shaman, Sasquatch, and the newly healed Aurora are teleporting to Edmonton. But they're a little confused as to where they are.
This looks like a shopping center. Biggest in the world, Michael. Welcome to the West Edmonton Mall, my friends. Glad you could make it.
So there's this big explosion from Shaman's medicine bag, and a lot of non-West Edmonton Mall stuff happens. The third book opens with Omega Flight and the Bizarro Guardian making their escape out to West Edmonton Mall's parking lot. They run into an old friend who apparently is angry that this robot killed the real Guardian. Long story short, the robot gets what's coming to him. There's one more scene with the group standing in West Edmonton Mall before they're all teleported away. There is no denying that Marvel has a string of superhero hits on its hands. Just when you think you've done them all, they reach deeper into their bag of characters and pull out another hero for us to enjoy. So, it's not a shock to hear that there's been hints at a development of an Alpha Flight movie. If that happens, is it possible that West Edmonton Mall could be featured in one of the films? Only time will tell. So, that's the story of Alpha Flight's first visit to West Edmonton Mall. And you may have noticed that they didn't visit the World Water Park. But that's because, in 1985, it didn't exist yet. But don't worry, Alpha Flight will return. For that story, check out part 2 of this video. I will warn you, however, that Alpha Flight's next visit to West Edmonton Mall is actually pretty dark, and definitely meant for a more mature audience. Viewer discretion is advised. Don't fret, however, because superheroes aren't the only comic book characters to visit West Edmonton Mall. Back in 1988, a couple of gals from a little town called Riverdale also made a visit to our fair city. A couple gals named Betty and Veronica. Did you know about the Canadian superhero team Alpha Flight? Would you like to see them featured in their own movie? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel. Give us a like and a share. This really helps us out. And don't forget to check out the follow-up videos in this series, all about the characters who visited the greatest indoor show on earth, West Edmonton Mall. Oh, and thanks for watching.